Welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. I'm Larry.
And I'm Vince,
Welcome to the show.
where we talk all things cryptid,
Sasquatch,
aliens,
hauntings.
and anything paranormal you would like to share with us.
You can reach us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
So settle in, open your mind, and enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. We're doing it once again for y'all. Vince, give me a shout out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cryptid Crossroad 505 studios.
That's right. Today's topic, you got it, Sasquatch.
Yep, we've been on we had a layoff, a little bit of a hiatus. I had some health issues and he got sick and just bad timing, so we're catching up on the Squatch.
We're trying to anyway. I was talking to my brother Vince. So we were talking about a couple of tongue-tied episodes of Small Town Monsters. Well, it seems that I stumbled across a spinoff from the Small Town Monsters, and it's a series called The Ridge. And of course, they do nothing but talk about Sasquatch and the theories out there.
Right, but they throw in some other cryptids as well.
Yeah, they do. They do.
It's all part of the theories. I
Right.
guess. Now the Ridge is in Pennsylvania. Is that
Yes. Yeah, it's in Pennsylvania. And I think most of these are going to be based in Pennsylvania because that's why they call it the Ridge, the Rocky Mountain, the mountain ridges.
right?
And they were talking about some pretty interesting theories, you know. I'm going to start off by saying one of the commentators on this documentary, he was talking about, he believes that Sasquatch can morph into different creatures, kind of like shapeshift, I guess.
Right.
He was thinking that they could turn into panthers, owls, and, a few other things. And, I'm not going to say it's not possible, but that one, it made me think a little bit because I think he's the only one that's ever said that.
Right. Now, he said there has been some Black Panther sightings up
Right.
there, and I do believe that because Black Panthers are native to Central and South America in the jungles,
Right.
and they have been seen moving up north. I actually saw something on, I don't know if it's Animal Planet or Travel Channel, how they're starting to migrate up north, and there's been sightings here in New Mexico, Colorado. So
Right.
I don't put that past him about the Black Panther sightings.
Right.
But as far as morphing, I'm still really on the fence about that. I can't say that these eyewitnesses are liars.
No.
Because I wasn't there. But this is one of those things I'd have to see for myself.
Right. You're right. I'd have to see that for myself because that was a hard pill for me to swallow.
Right. He said in one instance, they even seen some tracks, I believe, in the snow that were, he said they were Black Panther tracks. You could even see where the tail was dragging, and they just slowly turned into what he called Sasquatch tracks.
Right. Bipedal tracks.
Yeah, bipedal.
And that was just, I was out there. That's when I heard him say that, I just had to think for a minute and say, like my brother said, I'm not calling him a liar, but that's the first time I've heard that.
Right. We're not calling him a liar, but we did see footage with his pants on fire. No, I'm just kidding. No, but another interesting point, not about a witness or anything, but some new technology in the field. Did you hear when he said that they can now cast prints in the snow?
Yes.
That Dr. Meldrum and somebody else, and he said the government
Right.
came up with a spray. You spray in the snow to catch tracks.
Right. The government.
Why would the government be interested in that?
That's what I'm talking about. And we know that the government knows about these creatures. They just want to play the that game.
Right, just like the UFO thing. They say one thing, then they cover it back up.
Yeah, and the UFO thing, that's kind of hard though, because, and just like the Squatches, because so many witnesses, not everyone could be telling tall tales.
Right, right.
Yeah. Well, what about when they brought up the white Squatches?
Okay, that was one of the first thing they brought up, and that was interesting because I've heard stories about sightings of a white Squatch, and
Right.
one of their theories was it's a seasonal coat, like a dog will shed,
Yeah.
or like a baby deer for camouflage.
I guess that's possible, but to me, it's all pigmentation.
Right,
I think if you see a white Squatch, it's going to be white year round.
right. I believe that too, and like we've seen footage of Sasquatch in the snow, and they're still dark. I think a white one, like you said, is going to be white all the time. That's just like people. Sometimes they're albinos or blonde, and we've heard of different shades of, not all black and brown.
Right. No, we have, but I do believe that that's not a seasonal coat. I believe that it's pigmentation. That's all it comes down
Right.
to.
I agree with you.
And that happens throughout nature with humans, animals, the baby white buffalo.
Right. You know what? I liked one of the investigators. He was telling a witness's story when they saw it on the side of the road, and they said it was gliding.
Right.
And he says, "That's just what they told me. If they said it's flying, I'm going to say it was flying because I'm just reporting what they told me."
And I mean that's what you have to do. You can't interject into their sighting and their experience because it's theirs.
Right.
They know what they saw. If they say it was gliding, it was gliding. Now, is it an illusion? Who knows? Many things. The lighting, the area. Who knows? But
Right.
that's like if I had a sighting and I said it was skipping.
Right. And we have heard stories about them gliding because of the way they walk with their knees bent.
Right.
But I've also seen footage that I think is credible footage where they kind of have a bounce to them, like on the Paul Freeman video.
Right. Yeah. No. I believe that too.
I mean, it could be just like us. Maybe the one bouncing, maybe there was something wrong with his knees. I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows? But on the gliding theory, I've heard that before. I have heard that one before. The creatures look like they just glide, like they're not even walking. They're just floating across the air, is what some people have said. So when he said that, I was like, okay, I have heard that.
Right. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. Just like you got the fat ones, you got the skinny ones, you got the muscular ones.
Right.
They're just like people. Some of them may have a different walk. I'm sure the majority of them walk the same way, but
Right.
like I said, they've caught some prints with toes missing or damage to the foot, and that could contribute to a different walk.
It can. These I think these creatures, if they're a lot like humans, then they're going to have, faults like humans. Like you said, maybe one has a thyroid problem, so it's going to be heavier than the other one.
There you go. Or maybe one's just big bones. but his mom thinks he's handsome. Yeah, but we didn't go through that.
That's an inside joke, people.
But yeah, I was just interested in some of the stuff they brought up, and they've even brought up the Thunderbird. And I guess in this area that they're out, that they call the Ridge, there's supposedly, they even talked about hauntings, a lot of
Right.
stuff going on there. And I believe it, especially in these areas that were settled a long, long time ago, because people have passed through there, lived there, died there, whatever, for hundreds of, maybe even thousands of years.
Yeah, we don't know.
And I believe, I don't know, residual hauntings. That's a whole nother topic there, though.
That is, and they did mention, which we've heard a lot of people say they also witnessed, is at the same time that they've either had a UFO sighting, it was followed by a Sasquatch sighting, and vice versa. Had a Sasquatch sighting, then they had a UFO sighting, and that one wasn't new to me either. I've heard that
Right.
many times.
Right, and one story in particular on this documentary, there was a UFO in the sky, and somebody had a 30-06, and he
Right.
started shooting at it, and then it changed shape until like a bright light or something.
Yeah.
And they said down right below it, there's two Sasquatch making their way down a barbed wire fence. So this guy, he shot off, I guess he had tracer rounds where he could see them.
Right.
He shot one off above their head. Then he started shooting at them, and then they turned around and started going back to the forest. And one of them was even just watching him as he was shooting rounds, but either he wasn't hitting them or they had no effect on him.
Right. No, I do remember that part too. I mean, this creature didn't even bat an eye, just like, what are you doing? You know?
Right.
That would have freaked me out. Especially you're shooting a high caliber rifle like that at something. Most animals are going to hightail and try and take cover. They're not going to just slowly turn around and walk back to the forest. They're going to move as fast as they can.
Right. But that was another one with a UFO tied into the sighting. Now, a lot of these sightings, like you said, one happens first and the other happens second.
Right.
This one was simultaneous. But he did say after he started shooting that UFO in the sky, it just disappeared. It didn't fly away. It just disappeared.
Right. Just vanished.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And they got more than one documentary on this Ridge series, and I think I'm going to have to watch all of them.
Yep. That's some good homework. We just got to make the time.
Right. But they did bring up some interesting things, that other witnesses have said, and they brought up some new theories, like we were just talking about, that, made me really think, what's really going on here?
When he brought up the Thunderbird, the witness said it looked like a pterodactyl, something out of the prehistoric times.
Right.
Now, I've heard other stories about people seeing Thunderbirds, but some of those stories, they're actual birds with feathers,
right?
Not like a dinosaur skin.
Right. No, that made me think. I was like, okay, what could that be? Because, we've heard about Thunderbird sightings like down here in our neck of the woods.
Right.
And but those were birds. So, like you said, pterodactyl. We always say some things are extinct, but every day they're finding new animals that we thought were extinct but aren't.
Right.
Could that possibly have been like a pterodactyl?
Possibly. I mean, we have a lot of wilderness on this globe that no man has ever stepped foot in.
Right. And if I recall, I heard while they were filming Land of the Lost, one did get loose.
Yeah, there you go. That's where it came from. Or one of the Jurassic Park ones.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was interesting.
I would like to see a Thunderbird, though. We talked to our brother, actually had a sighting down here in New Mexico, and he was with our cousin.
Right.
And at the time, our cousin, he was young. He was a small, skinny guy, and my brother was more worried about them picking him up and taking them off.
Right.
He said that's how big they were.
Now, to see something like that I think it would frighten me a little bit. If a bird that big, it could possibly pick me up. Well, it wouldn't get very far in the air, but
It wouldn't even have to pick you up. It'd pull your eyes out.
Right. I mean, can you imagine a bird that big with a sharp beak like that?
Yeah, that would be no fun.
It would be no fun.
Well, I wouldn't want to be bit by a parrot. Could you imagine something that size?
Right. No, a parrot or a toucan, that would hurt too, man.
Yep.
Take your finger off. Yeah. So I don't know. There was a lot of just new theories out there that I'm not going to discredit them, but I'm definitely going to see if more people have had witnesses or sightings like they have. The hardest one, I thought about it for a while, was the shape-shifting Bigfoot.
Yeah, and I seen a video on the internet. It's been floating around. I don't know if you've seen it, but they start filming this dark-haired animal by a rock. It looks like it's almost in the desert.
Right.
And they said, "Oh, it's moving," and it looks like a cat laying down. But when it gets up and walks off.
Oh no, I haven't. I didn't
Yeah,
see
and
that one.
that's one of the things they claim was they caught a shapeshift. They caught it shapeshifting on video.
Huh. Well,
But the video is not, like I said, it's at a distance. They're trying to zoom in, and you have a black mass there. You really can't. I couldn't really tell what it was definitively, but I do know that it got up and kind of went around the corner there.
well, I saw one, but the one I saw, and it was in the desert too. It was like it was just laying still, and then it kind of crawled off.
Yeah,
Over.
that's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It kind of like crawled off and went over the other side. Now, when I looked at that, I wish the video footage was clearer. It was a little hard for me to make out, but I know it wasn't no regular coyote or a dog. That I do know. Was it a squatch? It could have been. Like I said, I've heard sightings where they were crawling basically on their belly, or and that's kind of what this thing did. Kind of crawled at first and then just got up and
Went around the corner there.
and it did move pretty quick. It did. So, but it wasn't a dog, a coyote, or some.
It's too hard to, with that video. It's too hard to tell exactly what it was.
It was, but I mean, I would have freaked out too. I would have been like, "Whoa, let's get that on film."
Yep.
Yeah. So I wonder what made them people even start shooting it. Right? Take out their phone and they said, "What is that?"
They must have watched it for a minute or two, enough to give them a presence of mind to pull out the phone and start videoing it.
Right. Right. Well, most people say when they have their squatch sighting, pulling out the phone and shooting a video is the last thing they're thinking of.
Right. Or usually they just happen so fast that the squatch is long gone before you even think about it.
Right. Or you're just too terrified to think about it. I don't know. There's just so many theories out there.
Right. How about the story the guy was telling about? They said they were hopping from tree to tree.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's possible because I did see a picture of one supposedly sitting in a tree.
Right.
And that we brought this theory up that, where people say we were following the footprints in the snow and all of a sudden they disappeared. Well, we now know that they do get in trees.
Right.
And even though they're big and muscular and heavy, they got primate in them, according to the theory. So why wouldn't they be able to maneuver in the trees like a regular ape?
Right, right.
Or
exactly.
chimpanzee.
And everyone says, well, how could that tree support, something that weighs 900 pounds? Or, well, that's just the thing. We've never really weighed one, so we don't know how much they weigh, really.
That's true. And these creatures, they're so powerful. How do, maybe not all their weight's focused on a branch or whatnot,
Right.
They could be holding on to the trunk of the tree, and who knows? But,
Low distribution.
right. That's right. Low distribution. I just know that these creatures are engineered for speed, flexibility, from what some witnesses say, and stealth.
Right.
So,
Now, how about the story about the following the footprints into a clearing? And they said it was a clearing at least, 30 some feet, in diameter. And the tracks right in the middle of the clearing, there's no trees. They just disappeared.
that's what. See, I don't know.
There's that.
There's that, and it's like what, and that's not the first time we've heard of that. So,
it's hard to say. Who knows? Do they know how to backtrack? Who knows?
I don't know, but I think, well, how could it just disappear? Some people say, that's where the alien spacecraft picked them up. But my thing is, these creatures, they have a foul odor, which everyone says they could smell. So I don't think they're from space.
No, I don't know. Do they have showers in space? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll ask someone next time we go to Gallup.
Yeah. No, there's just. It's hard to believe any one theory because we just don't know enough about these creatures.
No, I mean, the bottom line is until we can either be Jane Goodall and live among them to study them, or we capture one, or we're not really going to know. I mentioned the stench of these creatures, but I did, and we talked about it a long time ago, maybe a few years back. I did read an article where someone said that the government did have squatches in captivity, and the stenches from a gland that produces that smell that's down like by their thighs. And I thought that was interesting. I'm like, So,
Right.
Do they put off like a warning stench, like a skunk would? Or, it's like before I have to rip you apart, I'm going to try and scare you away with stink.
Yeah, or that might be it. If it's part of the fight or flight, when they get nervous,
Right.
maybe those glands kick in. Or
Well, it could. It
yeah,
could.
and I believe, if I'm correct, that's when. Well, according to what we read and heard, that's when the government was trying to catch one for the cloaking device.
Right.
Or the cloaking capabilities.
And lo and behold, they did develop cloaking capabilities. I've seen several videos of cloaking material that supposedly the government has made, and it's crazy.
I've seen those too, and I'm still on the fence because those things look too good to be true.
Well, you're right. I recently saw one of a man holding up a big like blanket one.
Yeah.
And he holds it. You could see half of him, and as he lifts it, he disappears. But you see like what's surrounding you. How that technology works is amazing.
Right. If it's true
If
technology.
it's true. Well, and I did see the other one with the Japanese soldier going through the forest, and you could make him out. That one looked like Predator.
Right.
You could make him out vaguely, but if you're not really looking for him, you wouldn't find him. He'd go right by you, and you wouldn't even known it. And maybe that's why, if these creatures cloak, maybe that's why it's so hard to find one if you're looking for one, because they do have the capability. The other theory is that their hair absorbs light, so when they get into dark spots, they basically disappear.
Right. And we've heard all kinds of stories about them disappearing. Like that one said that one just kneeled down behind a bush, covered his face, and he was gone.
Right.
And that could be with the hair too. But we've heard other stories too. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not calling him a liar, but some things have to be seen to believe.
I agree.
Believed.
Yeah. And I'm waiting to see it.
Right. Well, we haven't been out there in a while, but
Yeah.
we're way past due on going out there. But
We are overdue.
right now there's several feet of snow up there. I was watching the news, and
Yeah.
they got another 14 inches the other night.
Oh yeah, so we're not getting up there anytime soon.
Yeah, or else we just won't get back.
Right.
But I did go up there several years ago, 4 years ago. It was after I had my encounter, and we were driving on that road toward Los Alamos.
Right.
And I did see footprints coming from one side of the forest over the road over to the next, and
Right.
it just stepped over that fence. But there was no place to park or pull over.
Huh.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
get stuck. So I saw them. I even turned around and I did a loop, and who knows where they were going, or who knows who made them.
Right.
Now we're talking in the middle of the forest.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's out there hiking at that time.
Right, in thigh-deep snow.
Right. No, you'd be crazy. You'd be crazy too. Well, I mean, we kind of found some prints too when we've talked about this before. When we first took my dog up there, my dog made a beeline for the tree line, and it's like, what's this crazy dog doing? And then after we started walking around, we saw the prints, and there was a little bit of snow melt, but for footprints they were big.
Right.
I don't think it was a shoe because it didn't even have the imprint of a shoe, but
Right.
so.
And that's what came to my mind when I heard them talk about that spray so they could cast in the snow.
Right.
If we would have had it, we could have had some casts.
Mm-hmm.
There's been several times we could have cast prints, but we've never done it. So
I know. What do they use? Plaster of Paris or?
I have no idea. I know they use some kind of plaster, but I don't know if they prepare the ground with something first, because somebody told me, oh, they spray hairspray, or I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, that's one thing I've never learned how to do or researched how to cast. But if you know how to do it, I guess it would be valuable if you come across some prints, just so you could see what those prints really are.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought overall that this documentary was pretty good. I noticed that in this series we're probably going to see a lot of the same witnesses, because I watched one prior to the one we're talking about, and it had the same people. I was like, oh wow, this guy was in the last Ridge documentary.
Right. And it was good. They had some good encounter stories. There was nothing that I thought was that far-fetched, like the chokeweed lady. But it was good. It was well done.
Yeah.
But I still like the small-town monsters, because they actually go out looking for evidence, and if evidence is ever caught, they play it, and that's what I like. I like those kind of documentaries.
Yeah, no, I think the ones they did in Alaska were really good.
You still haven't watched that one where they start in Bailey, Colorado, right? You got to watch that one. That's really good. They start at it's a Sasquatch museum, I guess.
Right.
And it's pretty neat, because they have the map, and you could go talk about it, tell your stories. They'll put a pin on the map where you had your sighting.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that one. But they've done some really good Sasquatch documentaries overall. I think better than most that I've seen. And I think it's just because they're interested. They really want to know.
Right.
It's not just a ploy to make some money on YouTube or whatnot, even though they're doing pretty good at that with the ad revenue, I would imagine. But, someone's got to pay for their trips.
And the best thing about like small town monsters is I haven't seen no hoaxes or anyone trying to hoax.
Right. And the thing I like about them, they're honest too. They're like, we think, like when they were up in Alaska and they heard the cry, they right away said, we analyzed it right away, and we think that was a lynx.
Right.
Yeah, probably crying out. But as to where some people would right away just say, oh, that's a squatch.
Right. Or else if it was a squatch, some people say, no, it can't be. It's something else.
Right. Yeah. No. So on the evidence, when they discover things, I think they're really transparent about how they disclose it. And I think it's cool. But on that same point, we did talk about this on the last podcast. They did have some really good, cool evidence. And when they deep dived into some of the sounds in the background, you got to listen. But they're right. There is a holler.
Yeah.
And we've heard something like that up in where we go.
Yeah, but some of the yells we heard were a lot more clear than that.
Oh yeah, a lot more clear.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to clean it up with the software.
Well, it was like it was right next to you.
Yeah, and I have heard them where they are right next to me, and yeah, that makes you want to just leave your underwear and take off.
Well, isn't that what you did?
Yeah.
No, so.
But you know what? That was my first experience ever. I've never even researched any of the Bigfoot stuff or anything, so I didn't know to look for prints or nothing. When we went back in the morning, I just wanted to get my camping gear and get the hell out of there.
Right. That makes sense. And that's, most people that do have encounters like that, that's what they do. I've heard interviews with lifelong hunters that once they've had an encounter, there's no way their sport of hunting is done, because they're never setting foot in a forest again.
Right.
Just because of what they've seen. And to me, to see something that frightens you that much, that's an experience, life-changing experience.
Right.
So I want to have an encounter. I don't know if I want it up close like some of these guys have had. I'll take the distance where I see it walking across a field or something.
Or in front of the car.
Right, yeah.
Even though it could probably bust the windows out.
Right, yeah. So that's kind of experience I want. I don't want the face-to-face where, like my brother said, I'll fill my britches.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we don't get to choose.
Oh, right.
But we'll take it either way.
That's true. And they say having one of these sightings is like hitting the lottery, because
Or being struck by lightning.
right, not everyone gets them.
Right. And these people who have had multiple sightings, that's almost unheard of.
It is. It is. And I've heard of people that have multiple sightings because these creatures. There's one story I heard that they would go out and feed them. Put it at the fence line.
Right.
And they would come and take it, and they would interact with them, I guess, through gifting them, and they would come and accept it, and the people would see them come to the tree line, the fence line, whatever they were using. But on that same foot, they did also warn, saying, you got to be careful, because these creatures are still wild creatures. What happens one day when you no longer have anything to offer them?
Right. They're going to be hungry.
They're going to be hungry and now maybe a little upset.
But I do believe multiple sightings are possible.
Right.
Locations, everything. I believe that we stumbled in backward to a pretty good spot, because
We did.
we always have, well, I'd say 90% of the time we go out there, we have some kind of activity, whether it's we hear noises, we hear a tree knock, we hear a yell, or something's thrown at us,
Right.
or we've even smelled them. That's how close they've got. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a wet dog.
And I think now that we pretty much laid off this summer, and that road was pretty bad, so I don't expect a lot of people have been back there.
No, I don't.
Maybe on our next trip, once the thaw's done and the mud's gone, we might have some good luck again, because they might just come up and be curious again, or just stumble upon us not expecting us to be there.
Right. That may happen for us. But we hope you enjoyed what we brought to you tonight. And I encourage you, and like I said, I don't get paid for pushing this content. I encourage you guys to go check out this spin-off series by Small Town Monsters called The Ridge.
Right.
It's pretty interesting.
It's a good watch. It's worth your time.
It is. And like I said, Small Town Monsters, they do a lot of good, cool stuff. So check it out.
And don't forget to check out our Facebook page. I just posted some pictures of a friend of mine, gave me a little bit of feedback. I sent him some nice stickers. So,
Oh, nice. Cool.
get in touch with us.
Yeah, check it
Give us
out.
a shout out, and maybe we'll send you some too.
That's right. Anyway, until next time. Hey, thanks for watching.
We hope all you YouTubers enjoyed the show.
That's right. And don't forget to reach out to us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
Peace.
Peace.